Guys, I could not go to bed without giving you this word tonight. I had to release it. I know if you click on this live, it is not an accident. It is not a mistake. God wanted you to hear this. God wanted you to see this. When God puts something inside of you for you to release in the world. Okay, this is what the Lord spoke to me. The devil in hell gets mad. They get upset. They try to plan. They try to strategize, just like King Herod trying to kill the babies. They want to abort what God has impregnated you with. Please listen to me. The spiritual warfare that you face is part of the process. Okay, when God gives you something to release in this earth, there are spiritual implications. There are things that when you release that thing, whether it's a dream, a vision, a word, a song, a book, when God gave it to you and he gave it to you to release in the earth, please understand it's an act of war, because somebody is going to receive, because his word cannot return unto him void. Somebody's going to receive that thing that God has put inside of you. Somebody's going to get set free. Somebody's going to be on the verge of suicide, and then there's just going to be a life that hits them because of your obedience. So don't be surprised when the devil is coming against your mind, trying to make you doubt, trying to make you second guess, because this is war. All right, some people, yes, it comes easy to them because there's no anointing. The anointing destroys the yoke. When God gives you something, please understand, he might give you a song. It might not never do millions of views. You might not never get a Dove Award, but on YouTube, you look at it and it only got 2 views. Let me ask you something. Those 2 views, somebody was in the car, they were depressed, they were discouraged, they were ready to commit suicide, and somehow the Spirit led them to that song. And in that moment, the song ministered to them, and the tears began to fall from their eyes, and something in them began to rise up. Something in them began to stand up, and the Spirit of God moved on them in the car because of what God put inside of you and told you to release. Now, the world might never acknowledge it, but something is happening in the Spirit where the heavens are rejoicing. Maybe you never get the views, maybe you never get the recognition, but when it's all said and done, you get a well done, my good and faithful servant, because you released what I told you to release. And when you released it, demons had to back up, devils had to go, and souls were saved. And somebody sat in the car and there was a war that was going on. And because you obeyed and you released what God gave you, you released the book, you released the song, you released the word, you typed out the post, a life was saved. There was somebody that would have been a casualty if it was not for your testimony, if it was not for your word, if it was not for your song. Please understand that the way that the world looks at it and the way that God looks at it and the way that it looks in the physical is not the way that it looks in the spiritual. Please understand. So maybe it never goes big and we associate success and numbers and views with, oh, God must have blessed that. Let me tell you something. There are many people who do numbers that God has nothing to do with that. And if you look in the spirit, God is saying, I'm not with that. And then the person that you want to look over, the person that you think ain't all that, in the spirit, they've got badges. They've got awards. In the spirit, God is looking down saying, that's my son. That's my girl. That's my child right there. They're doing it right, even though maybe the world doesn't acknowledge it. So what are you living for? If God gave you something, if he gave you a song, if he gave you a message. I remember I was preaching my messages in the woods. And then I started doing them on videos, and I would do things just because God put it in me and I'm about to release it. The devil has been just locking some of you up, paralyzing you with fear, condemnation, doubt. Well, nobody's supporting me. I'm not doing the views. I'm not doing the numbers. I just feel like I'm all alone. And God's saying, you're not alone. All I want you to do is release it. Don't be surprised when the devil tries to kill it. Don't be surprised when your mind is under attack. This is just part of what comes with it, because when God gives you something, what happens in the spirit when you release it is so much bigger and so much greater than a music award, than a publishing, book award or getting a publishing deal. It's so much bigger than that, because souls are what God cares about. He don't care about the millions of views if it's not reaching souls, if it's not touching souls, if souls are not repenting, if souls are not being motivated in the fight, being encouraged to run the race. He don't care about that. It's all about souls. So does your, whatever it is that God gave you, does it affect that? Does it change that? Does it touch that? Does it move on that? The heavens rejoice over one soul. If your song, if your book, if your testimony, if your post has the capability to do that, that's all you need. Don't look at it from the earthly perspective. Look at it in the spirit. Hear me. Hear what I'm telling you tonight. The devil been beating some of you down with doubt, fear. Man, I'm telling you, there's so many times in my life, no matter how many things we do, we get the school building, even the music, I have these doubts, and then people will come to me and I'll end up like, man, that really blessed me. And they'll have tears in their eyes. And I realized, hey, that helped them when they was in the war. That helped them when the devil was coming against them. That's what it's all about. It's not about getting acknowledged by man or people. Are you known in heaven? Does the devil know you? Does the devil worry about your song? Does the devil worry about your book because of the anointing on it? The anointing destroys the yoke. Is the devil worried about your preaching, like Herod wanting to kill the babies? Or is it just another song? Is it just another message? The devil said, I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried about that church. I ain't worried about that pastor. I ain't worried about that song. And that's why they don't get no spiritual warfare. That's why they don't know what we're talking about. But those of you that God has given assignment, that he's given something that came from heaven, directions from heaven, directions in the spirit, all best believe that hits different in the spirit. That hits different in the spiritual world. I'll be blessed.